Oh, there you go. He back at this faith. Who is he talking to? Because you remember last week he was talking to he called the world, everybody in the world was coming to him. What he called them? Great faith. Faith he never saw. Faith he never seen. But everybody in the church, everybody that's following him, he calling them small faith. Mm-hmm. We got to get that, because I'm telling you, the biggest thing of this is why he's showing us, because he hold us greater than he hold them. They would pass something that we won't. They would get away with something we won't. Much is given, much required. We got to understand. Seek God first and his righteousness, and all things will be added. Seek God and his righteousness. We got to do both of them. The world can just be doing righteous deeds, and you were thinking they're getting everything. But they ain't seeking God. They don't have a relationship with God. They don't know God. They don't know his law. They don't know what he's saying. They don't know his commandments. But sometimes they're saying some righteous statements, and God is blessing, allowing them to be blessing that. I tell you the truth. If your faith is as big as a mustard seed, which this is. When God first gave me this ministry, years ago, before I knew none of y'all, God gave me this ministry, and he told me this is going to be a mustard seed ministry. But when that mustard seed grow, don't it take over the plants? It would take over anything in your yard. I don't care if you got apple, whatever you got plant, great, it would take over, because that's what God's kingdom about. Once it get developed, and once he put it where he want to put it, it's dominant. It takes over. Believe that. Satan ain't taking over nothing. You can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. All will be possible for you. That kind of spirit comes out only if you pray and fast. Now, he giving us another part. He giving us another puzzle piece. He giving us another piece of the puzzle. Remember, the first time he gave us the woman that had so much power, she ain't need no pastor. She didn't need to go to church. She didn't need to go to the Pharisees and Sadducees. She didn't need to go to the disciples. She bypassed everybody. Her faith was so level. Her faith was so strong. She bypassed everybody and went through the crowd. That's the kind of faith we got to get to. That's one, remember? The second was the son, the people came, the blind men came to him, and he asked them, do you got enough faith to believe? They had to have enough faith. The woman had it. He had to ask her. She had it. He had to ask the blind man that he got enough faith. The third one was what? The woman had enough faith to hear her child. So she had enough faith that's strong enough to hear her child. Now look what he's giving us. To have faith as big as a mustard seed and to believe you can go through a mountain. Oh, this kind of faith gonna come through prayer and fasting. Ain't no just praying. So can nobody just come to your church and you lay hands on them and you gonna heal them? You ain't gonna just go through go to this wall because you pray, you're gonna go through it. Who was that? Enoch? Who was one of the prophets with so powerful God had to take him away? Enoch. He would walk with God. He walked with God. So when you was walking with God, guess what that means? You know the 9 fruits tell you, the 9 fruits say, how to fulfill the 9 fruits. How can you fulfill the 9 fruits? Without sin. That means Enoch he was walking with God so much, he ain't had no sin on him. That's what God had to take him away. Because if you pray and fast, like he had to be doing, to have that kind of, what he was doing, he had to be praying. Jesus prayed 40 days and 40 nights. I only did 72 hours. I did 3 days, 3 nights one time. I always say I wanted to go try that 4. but I never did. Jesus did 40 days and 40 nights. How many did? Believe me, he did more than 3 or 4. He had to. Because he's telling you to give you a piece of the puzzle right here. This kind of faith for you to have as a big as mustard seed to believe you can go through mountains and walk on water and all this other stuff, you're going to have to pray and fast. Some churches don't understand, or some ministries don't understand, that you just ain't going to heal that person because they came to you. You got to build relationship. You got to see if they serious, conduct some meetings through the week, 2 or 3 meetings a week, 2 meetings a week with this person. See if they're going to come on time. See if they serious about being healed. And get them into prayer and fasting. He's showing you that right there. Powerful. He gave us 2 Bible studies. He even gave us 4 hidden treasures that most of us, if we knew, we might have did. But he discovered, he gave it to us. We got to remember that. And this was going to be, this was going to create the power. This is what's going to create the power in our ministry. This right here. Let's go to 23:23. Matthew 23:23. 23:23. Read that, Stephanie.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone. Ye blind guides, which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. Thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and all of uncleanness. Even so ye also outward appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because ye build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would have not been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves, that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets. Fill ye up then the measure of your fathers, ye serpents, ye generations of vipers. How can ye escape the damnation of hell? Jesus prophesied the destruction of Jerusalem. Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them shall ye scourge in your synagogues, and persecute them from city to city, that come upon you may come all righteous blood, shed upon the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, son of Bacharias, whom ye slew between the temple and the altar. Verily I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this generation. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets, and stonest them which are sent unto thee, how often would I...
Stop right there. All right, we started off at 23. Go back to 23. God, Jesus saying so much in this about, and remember, we on faith here, so we got to know how to translate it to faith level. How terrible for you, teachers of the law, of Pharisees. You are hypocrites. You give God 1/10 of everything you earn, even your mint, bill, and come, but you don't obey the really important teachers of the law. justice, mercies, and being loyal. You see what he's saying? So he's telling you, you're supposed to give a tenth. But what he's saying is, how can you give a tenth, but then you don't obey you don't obey the really important teachings of the law? You hear what he said? The really important teaching. So he's telling you tithe and offering is not important, but it is a law. Tithe and offering is a law. You're supposed to do it, but it's not the important thing you're supposed to do. So don't think you're supposed to give God, you pay tithe and offering, and you can go do all this craziness, or you can accept all this craziness, and then go to church and give tithes and offering, and then everybody looking at you like you holy, holy. No. But you don't obey the really important teachings of the law. Justice, mercy, being loyal. That is important in paying tithes and offerings. These are the things you should do, as well as those of others. You see what he said? You should do these things and well of other things too. That's the law. You guide the people. You guide the people, you are blind. You guide the people, but you are blind. Look at this. Man, y'all hear him? You guiding the people, but you blind. You unfaithful. Back to Deuteronomy 32:20. You are an unfaithful servant. So that means you blind. When you unfaithful, you are blind. And you guiding the people. How many of our people in the streets being blind, being guided by somebody that's blind? Killing, murder. Look at the city councilman. Look at the mayor. Look at all this crookedness going on in the city of Detroit. Blind. And who they guiding? The cities, the citizens of the cities of Detroit. How you gonna conduct something that's wicked and make a law of it? But then you say you want God to cover your city. But you make a law out of Halloween, which ain't nothing but wickedness. But then you saying you want God to cover the city of the crimes. They found out the guy that did the murder in New York rented a Home Depot truck and went down the bike trail and killed 8 people. They found out he wanted to do it right at Halloween. But it's supposed to be so trick-or-treating though. Trick or treat. If that right there don't tell you something ain't right, you gonna teach your kids how to be tricky? Trick somebody? We gotta get it. We're not gonna be, the city of Detroit is never gonna be covered by God long as they continue to go along with these laws that they don't have to, and they continue to go on with it, but then they turn it around asking God to still cover them. It ain't gonna happen. We're gonna wake up every day with murderers. Every day we're gonna have crookery in the city constantly. Every day you're gonna find the mayor doing something. They found Kid Patrick, now they found this mayor selling off, tearing houses up, and he even got a kickback, and then now you don't hear no more about it. He did it, he just ain't do it on a house. Patrick did, but he still did it. What's going on? Look what he said. He's telling you. These are the things you should do. These are the things you should do as well as those of others. You guide the people, but you blind. You are like a person who picked a fly out of the dirt, out of a drunk, and then swallowed a camel.
Oh, that's a gnat.
Huh?
That's a gnat. You know, fruit flies.
Yeah.
Gnats.
Uh-huh.
That's what that is.
Wow.
Straighter than a gnat, something that.
What?